All right, we're back. Here I am, coming to you today to share my COVID-19 experience. So, I so here we are coming to you sharing my COVID-19 experience. My situation started last Thursday. Thursday night, I had a um, runny nose, started having a sore throat, and started having this cough. And I was in complete denial the whole time because I'm like, because I have had some allergy symptoms this summer, and with allergy meds, they went away. It was what it was. And I think it's easy to become hypersensitive in the environment that we're in and blah, blah, blah. So I really didn't want to like get all freaked out. Um, but the next morning I woke up with an elephant on my chest. And for any of you who have asthma, you know that's never a good thing. And I have a Q-Bear inhaler and an albuterol inhaler, and I hit my albuterol inhaler. I will say I had a rapid heartbeat that day. Um, Albuterol can do that, so I don't know. All I know is I was having this right here, and it was a little scary because it wasn't, the albuterol didn't fully do it. So my doctor is a 24/7 doctor, um, and I have something called concierge care. I highly recommend it, and if you don't have a doctor that has that, I would recommend you getting it just because of situations like this, because they were able to turn on a dime and get me what I needed, um, and to avoid like a hospital stay. So, um, so anyway, I had a few things. I was like, oh my gosh, I just want to tell people from my experience. This is just my experience, and I'm not a doctor. This is just me. This is just me. Everybody, I think, has to consult with a physician, with all that. And I think the number one thing with all this is you have to trust your gut. It's one thing when people start arguing on the internet. It's a whole other thing when you know you're in a risk category and you start having these symptoms. It's all fun and games until that goes down, because it is not fun. I'm not going to come here and say, oh, I wasn't scared at all. I had complete faith in God the whole time. Absolutely not. That was not my situation. All hell has broken loose against us this entire year. So I feel like I've had somebody at my back trying to get me. I mean, that's the way this year has felt. So like I was taking no chances whatsoever. That's the frame of mind that I was in. And so my doctor is normally open, Monday through Friday, and appointments, all that stuff. She was closed this Friday for whatever reason. And so whenever she's closed, either her or her associate are available via the concierge care. So um, I reached out, and she was asking me about my symptoms. At that time, I did not have a fever. And most medical professionals don't, it doesn't really spark for them until you have a fever. So um, honestly, like she said, okay, go get tested. Try CVS. Y'all, CVS, I my experience and another person's experience here in Kansas City, I don't know about everywhere else. It was not a good experience. And for the person who did use CVS, it took them 6 days to get the results. By the time 6 days had passed, if you're in the danger zone, you could be in the hospital by then. So I don't think it's smart to use something that's going to take forever and a day. The other thing is their computer crashed. I tried to go inside because I was having symptoms. Their person treated me like I was a leopard. Then they gave me this number. They're like, oh, well, since the computer's not working, I'm like, like, I was treated like I didn't know what I was doing, and I absolutely knew what I was doing. And it would not, their computer would not, it did not work. All of their little things for testing did not work. And then she gives me a number that was useless. And I was like, oh, dear God. Because I got there and I checked in, and then she decided to go on her lunch break. So I'm like, okay, do I go home now? What do? I went and got something to eat. And I'm like, because I'm sitting here, I'm like, I felt like a ticking time bomb. I didn't want to go places and spread this crap if I had it. But I went in and got something to eat at a restaurant, fast food place, and then she calls me and whatever. That was a fiasco. Then I was like, okay, well, clearly CVS isn't going to work. So there's a little urgent care that I'd looked up. I'm like, let me go to the urgent care. The urgent care was closed. I'm like, I don't know if they moved. I don't know what happened. I'm like, dear God. And so like on the same road, there's a hospital system here in Kansas City called St. Luke's, and they had this standalone emergency facility that's basically across the road from the CVS. I was like, well, I can't check in online with St. Luke's either. I'm gonna go up to the door. I mean, I didn't pull it up on my phone. It'd be a lot easier to do on the computer. But the CVS one I actually did on my computer, and it was garbage. So anyway, I come up to the thing and like had the conversation. The lady come out. She's all in her garb and all that stuff, and she's like, well, she asked me if I want to be seen. I was like, I'm not having emergency symptoms right now, but I really think I have this. And she's like, well, if you call your doctor can put in an order, and then we can have you tested at one of our facilities. And I'm like, why isn't this a testing facility? It doesn't make sense. So whatever. So by this time, I mean, I'm still having the symptoms. I'm still like my heartbeat's rapid, and I'm just like, God, this is like, and I'm going through it all by myself mostly. It's just me because my husband was dealing with different stuff, and we've been dealing with a lot since this last month because of the carjacking. So yeah, just don't even, whatever. So I think number one, the first thing you need to do is get tested. And if you don't have a doctor to like give you an order for St. Luke's, because they got me in there, it's 48 to 72 hours results. I had results within 24 hours. I was able to get in. It took a day to get in to get tested. But then, so that there was no question, and that it was very quick. And then there was Advent Concentra Urgent Care here in Kansas City. They have a rapid test. It is not free, the St. Luke's one. Either insurance covers it or the government covers it, so it's free. But the one place, it was $250 for a test. And at that point, I was almost willing to pay it, even though that's ridiculous. So anyway, so I say trust your gut, get tested, and number 3, get care. And so because I didn't spike a fever the first day, my doctor, she wasn't feeling the alarm bells at all. I hit my inhaler, like I said, and she said, go ahead and hit your steroid inhaler. You'll be okay. And I was like, okay, that's fine. And so I did that. I went home. I was exhausted. I was so tired. And I was like 10-second howl. Couldn't keep a thought in my head. It was horrible. And once again, I'm going through all this by myself. I didn't have anybody hold my hand helping me with all this. So then I had 2 friends reach out to me. One of them, who is post-COVID, she had like this care package of stuff that she had used. She drops it off on my porch. Another friend makes her own elderberry and just put this package together, put it on my porch. And I grabbed those things and I started off with those things. I started off with vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, and I ordered Quercetin, whatever the crap that is. It's on my page. And I ordered it on Amazon. And then I just took all that stuff. One of my friends had these little packages of bone broth that you mix up. Wasn't super hungry. I still had my sense of taste and smell at that point. And then that evening I spiked a fever, and my doctor checked in on me. I don't know if it was that evening or that morning. I said, yeah, I have a fever. And she's like, oh my gosh. And so she sprung to action and mentioned the medications to me. And I said yes. I said yes to azithromycin, hydroxychloroquine, and bucimide. And I asked about the bucimide because someone had sent me a video about that, and they're actually using it now with all COVID patients who are on a ventilator, and it's a inhaled steroid. And so I have an inhaled albuterol and an inhaled bucimide that I can put in my nebulizer that I got at the beginning of this thing, because a friend of mine told me about using nano silver in the nebulizer should you end up getting it. And actually, before I had all that stuff, I hit the nano silver. Like, I was doing all the natural stuff on Friday because that's all I had, and I didn't want to take chances. And then when my doctor finds out I have symptoms, she prescribes me stuff. I was able, a friend of mine another friend who's post-COVID, who's a nurse, took me to get the stuff. What I found out in the mix of it, If someone has your name and your birthday, they can pick up those medications, which I drove myself Saturday morning to get that test. I should not have done that. I was not in a good place to be driving, but I did it because I was just like, I was in survival mode at that point. And so, um, and at the time, my husband and my son were on a fishing trip, so they were not exposed to me, and they needed to get away because all the stuff that's been going on, and needed to have father son time. So, I'm alone, and it was good that I was alone because they didn't get infected because they were away. So anyway, I go down there and by myself, and then I get myself back home, and I'm talking to my friend. She's like, "I'll take you to go get the stuff." I was like, "Cool." Check this out. I'm telling you, people gonna treat you like a leper when you have this stuff. I've heard worse situations than mine though, so whatever. So we go to Walmart. That's my normal place because they just make it super duper easy, and they would not feel the hydroxychloroquine, which I think is ridiculous because that med opens up your cells to receive zinc. Fortunately, that supplement I told you about will do the same thing if you can't get it. But we had to go to Walgreens instead. My doctor and the pharmacist kind of butted heads because she's like, "Oh my gosh, it is not your call. You're a pharmacist, you're not a doctor." So they did bring out my zithromycin. They said, "Open up your trunk." So my friend pops her trunk, they throw it in there, and they leave. I mean, they book it out there. There was no, it's not funny, but it was. And it because we both saw it, and we were like, "Oh my gosh." They're like, "Oh, you don't even have to pay. It's on us because didn't you say you got tested?" It was over the phone, you know. And at that point, like talking was coughing for me. Like I couldn't hardly talk without coughing. So anyway, um, so that was an interesting experience. So trust your gut, trust God, get tested, get care, ASAP, natural scripts, natural prescription, get a hold of it all. I mean, there is no problem with natural and pharmaceutical. There is no problem with God and science. I'm saying that out loud. I will say that until I do my last breath, because I taught college level science to associate level students, and my brain is programmed for science and God. There is no problems with all of that together. I don't know why people make it a problem, and that's all I got to say about that. So I would say number 4, quarantine. You got to make a plan. I would recommend you make a plan in advance for your family, for your situation, if your roommate situation, whatever. You got to decide how you're going to manage it. It's not easy to be on your own doing this stuff, but it's not impossible because I know the 2 other people that I know that had it were single, but one of them lived in a basement with family. So the family was upstairs. So there was a natural quarantine. But you need to make a plan. And then we are, as a family, it came together pretty quick for us because they were already away. And Jake's like, "Just please don't go downstairs. I'm going to stay with her when I get back." That part worked out. So you have to decide how you're going to do it. Some of you may be like, "Hey, let's get it as a family." I know one family that's gotten it as a family. They're like, "Let's get this over with, herd immunity, whatever." I think everybody needs to decide. And if you got somebody who's in the danger zone, they can't really, it's not really a thing. Like, I don't know. You have to figure it out. And then number 5, you got to rest and hydrate. That's the biggest things with this thing. There's this really awesome stuff. It looks like Emergency in the pack, and you pour it. It's called Trace mineral. It's just Trace, but it's these minerals and hydration and vitamin C. I just ordered some more of that. My friend Hillary dropped some of that off with a packet of things. That was the bomb.com. It's like Gatorade on steroids in a pack. It was awesome. And I would say have someone designated to check on you. I was paranoid because one of the things that can happen to you is you can become unresponsive. You don't go into a coma, but you become unresponsive. And you can lay there and become dehydrated and not get breath. It's not a good situation. So I was going to have a team of 3 people, but I ended up having one. It wasn't as big of a thing. But I did not sleep well for 3 or 4 days because I was afraid to sleep. That's just That's real. And also, I discovered you can do 10 milligrams of melatonin, which last night I got the best sleep of my life, which may be why I'm feeling tremendously better today. So, um, so trust your gut, get tested, get care ASAP, quarantine, rest and hydrate, have someone check on you, and then have foods available that are easy, or you can use DoorDash, or there are people, oh, what can I do? Y'all, this is just me. This is how I do. Since I've been in college, like any of you who go to college, you have to take care of yourself when you're sick. Hot and sour soup. I'm like, I got this thing originated in China, so Chinese stuff is gonna help heal me. I said that to a friend. I'm like, yes, I said that out loud. Hot and sour soup. It cures a multitude. You heard it here. Just kidding. No, but I love that stuff. And like I had to, what, can I do something? Yes, hot and sour soup. Go get it. That's what I want. And I didn't want to pay the $25 to have it delivered to me, because it's just like you get a quart of it, and I had it like 2 days going, but I really didn't have a huge appetite. But that stuff just like it opens everything up, and I love it. Bone broth is thebomb.com. I've got some that I've frozen that I brought up to thaw out, and I'll be having. But the powdered stuff is cool. Sam's Club now has like a 6-pack of the 32 ounces, which is pretty awesome that they do that. For some reason, since Thursday, I have wanted nothing but a large pepperoni pizza, and I found a gluten-free one because I'm like, I do not need more gastrointestinal stuff, because I actually had those symptoms too. This thing is horrible. It is like, it hits every part of you. Like, I got this little headache now, like I'm not smelling, and like I feel like I have a stripe down the middle of my tongue that I can't taste. It gives you a sore throat. It makes you cough. The muscle pains, like literally, I've woken up the last few days. I can't bend over because of the pain. Like any place you would normally have pain in your body, it's gonna go there, and you're gonna have pain there, and it's like an ache, and it sucks. And like even today, like I still feel that uncomfortable muscle pain crap, and the tiredness, and then the 10-second howl. I'm just like, I can hold a thought in my head for 10 seconds. That's it. Today, I actually can string together words without having problems, which is nice. I'm always good with written communication, but like there are times it's just what it is. So anyway, and then I've heard about a rebound effect, and me and a post-COVID survivor person, and we were talking. I was like, "Can you get this again? Like this is gonna change how I do things." I wore masks. I washed my hands. I sanitized. I did all that stuff. I'm pretty sure that I got it in our community here. The window of time, I did make a trip because I'm like, screw all of this. I want to see my family. I'm tired. Cooped up in this house 7 months. And I went, and I did all the precautions, and I did just fine. But it was here in Kansas City that I contracted this. And I'm pretty sure that it was Monday, because there's a group of people that I was around, there had been COVID. So it was here. I was masked. I sanitized. I did all the things. And this stuff is contagious. And the one thing is the stress level. I really feel like I was susceptible because of the stress that I've been under. Yeah, so that's that. I will continue to rest. I have to quarantine for 10 days. And my day 10 is August 8th for me. Not that I'm counting. And then I have to be symptom-free for 72 hours before I can be around people. So anyway, that being said, I was looking at work. One of the things I did before COVID hit was I was subbing, substitute teaching. So I've been looking at all kind of different things. There's been some OT things that have opened up. There's, people who need their kids homeschooled in their homes and tutoring. So there's all kind of options, but this changes everything about how I think about what I'm going to do. It's possible that I will have an immunity, and now that I know how my body reacts, technically I'm not out of the woods yet. I am feeling better. I did have a third person. For them it was 2 weeks. They had a day where they're doing good, and then they dip back down again. So I don't know how I'm going to react to it. I'm just taking this one day at a time. So That's all I got to say about that. Now let me look at these comments because I everything I could do. Okay, who we got? Thanks, Dad. Yeah, Lauren, you're right. It's not working well. Hey, Jamie. Jason, yes. They will treat you like you're prepare to be treated like a leper. I mean, it's just, even by healthcare people, and we kind of have like a you know, you have to have a certain cut and a certain makeup to be able to do healthcare. But even those people were like, ooh. Desiree, yes. So glad I didn't know all of that. I slept for 2 days straight in February. Been drinking more bone broth. I'm positive. Ah, very good, Betty. I think that's awesome. May you be healed in Jesus' name. Thank you, Tony. So glad they shut down the GPR to the community. Yeah, me too. I think it's wise. I am so impressed with how our community of faith has handled this. They do not check their brains at the door. We had a Harvard-trained PhD in immunology speak to us before this whole thing broke out. I had a really good idea of what this thing could do, of what the potentials were. I never was a denier. And yes, there's a lot of things around this. I'm not going to get into all that. I think everybody has to have the ability to make their choices for their own health care. That's my concern. I don't think you should, I think if there is anything out there that can potentially help you, that you should be able to have access to it. Because once again, all the studies in the world mean absolutely bupkis until you in your own body are feeling symptoms that you have seen across the world. People have died from this, and it's all fun and games until you start feeling stuff in your own body. And I will say this: the cascade of symptoms I've had, I have never had before. I did get sick in February. I do have asthma, and when I get a cold, it goes straight to my chest, and that did happen to me. In February, I was sick for 3 weeks. Week 3, I got on a Z-Pack, and by the end of the week, I was cleared, was breathing right. My symptoms went away. And I will say that experience, I know some people may have had it before, the big blow up. I personally have not had this cascade of symptoms. And I can say with confidence, I just haven't. I didn't get tested at the time because they weren't really doing testing. My doctor felt like my symptoms were commensurate with what I'd gone through before. And I got diagnosed with intermittent asthma back in 2017. I wish I would have been diagnosed before somehow because I have had breathing problems since I've been in Kansas City. The air here is different. There's a trash incinerator in the city. I don't think that helps anything. So I don't know. That's just my experience. What else we have? Debbie, thank you. Kathy, thank you. I think I had it in November. It's possible. I mean, I think everybody, you know your body. I just know, having gone through this and gone through what I did in February and March, I have not had this cascade of symptoms. And it is scary because I am heavier and prone to inflammation because of a autoimmune condition, endometriosis, and I have asthma. So that is my story. I hope it helps someone. And love you guys. Thanks so much for your prayers. I believe in the power of prayer. I'm so grateful. Once again, God and science are not mutually exclusive. We get to live out our faith. And once again, you know, if there is anything that you think can help you stay out of the hospital and stay alive, I think that everything should be open to people and they should be able to try it. And I'm glad that my doctor recommended certain medications off the bat. And then I got those medications, that I took the natural things, that we took it seriously, that we rested. And once again, my big question is, can you get this thing twice? Like, how much do your antibodies kick in? How much do they make? All I know is I'm going to be resting. And once again, God causes all things together, all things to work together for our good. And somehow I believe this is going to work for my good. But in the meantime, if any of this could help you guys, I'm glad for it to do that. So love you guys. Bless you. Catch you later.